in 2000, Squaresoft released a new video in their storied game franchise. That game went on to receive numerous awards that year, including Game of the Year. It's well known for its graphics, gameplay, and music. That game was freaking Chrono. Right off the bat, you're introduced to amazing graphics. Those flickering shadows just blew my mind. And the wonderful acoustic-heavy soundtrack from Yasunori Mitsuda. Obviously these are pre-rendered, but it was still a large leap ahead of some of the fare from Final Fantasy VIII, and possibly even topped Final Fantasy IX. Gameplay, it's a PS1 JRPG. You run around a beautiful world with 2D backgrounds and some of the best 3D textured models on the console, but thankfully no random battles here. As with the previous game, you'll almost always see enemies on screen before fighting, so you can avoid them if you need or prefer to. This also means you generally won't get into fights on the overworld map, only in the dungeons. Oh, and did I mention the music? I feel like I haven't mentioned the music enough. Seriously, this is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. It's 90% chill, too, so it's one that I'll listen to when I'm trying to get to sleep at night. Don't worry, we'll be coming back to a few of the best tracks in a later OS treats. Now, one of the reasons I'd never really played this game very far until recording this footage was the battle system. I have to say, though, eventually the element system did grow on me. Instead of spells and magic points, you've got elements. It actually plays out a little bit like D&D. You have to assign your elements ahead of time, then during battle you can only use each of your equipped elements once. It gets replenished at the end of the fight, though. Consumables, like healing items, are also considered elements, and to use them during battle, you need to use one of your slots to pack up to 5 in per slot. Not a fan of this. Also not a fan of the stamina system. I could figure out the basics. You use stamina based on the level of element you choose, slowly regain stamina every time actions are taken, but it generally frustrated me more than an ATB bar or Final Fantasy X's turn-based system. What did tickle me are the elemental biases. I love elemental biases in games. Here, every individual has an element. You can paint the field with elemental biases, and you'll need to make the entire field one color with 3 consecutive elements of the same type to pull off summons. It's very satisfying. It's set up in an opposition style, though, rather than a wheel. Red opposes blue, green opposes yellow, black opposes white, so you really need to be careful. Also, a few enemies will react in special ways to attacks from their opposing element. Over the course of the game, you can encounter a ton of recruits. And while you won't be able to obtain every one of the 45 possible party members on one playthrough, there is a New Game Plus that allows you to complete your collection as long as you remember which branching paths to take on your subsequent runs. And it'll probably take a few runs to soak in all of the surreal story this game has to offer. Seriously, I don't know if I can explain any of it. It's a wild ride, though, a continuation of a Super Nintendo Satellaview-only visual novel called Radical Dreamers, released 4 years earlier. Chrono Cross, however, is officially the end of the line for now. A sequel called Chrono Break had been considered, and the trademark was registered soon after the release of Chrono Cross, but since then nothing new has been added to the series aside from remakes of Chrono Trigger on the DS and PlayStation. That said, I stand by my opinion that Final Fantasy XIII-2 is about as close as we can be to a third full entry in the series, gameplay-wise. I don't think it's impossible for a revival of the Chrono series today. I just hope I don't have to hunt down an astral amulet and fall through another dimension to see it. Thanks once again for dropping by. I really appreciate it every single time. Please like, subscribe, share these videos with your friends, or even your enemies. I'm not picky. Make a friend by sending a video, and I'll see you guys next week.